Mistakes at the back for SKC, but it's 3 for 3.
LAFC, one of the best defensive teams in the league for a reason. And now the break is on. Denis Bouanga, he's in behind the last defender. Bouanga! 2-0! Over his head, David Martínez takes it in. Oh, look at the movement again from Son. And the ball's gone over his head. David Martínez takes it in stride, pulls it back. He's going to go for goal, and he's going to find the back of the net. This first 45 minutes is
more, produce more.
lovely ball in behind Boyd. Abobasi just on the field making a good run. Bouanga scores! That is clinical. A power first-time finish from Denis Bouanga for him.
All right, Erik, you were in the building this Saturday. 4 goals on Sporting Kansas City. Of course, this is section 128. Thanks for tuning in. And yeah, Son early. A doblete from Bouanga. My guy Martínez got on the scoreboard. Everyone was scoring. And of course, you were there. 4th straight win for LAFC, which is impressive. Now they're tied for first in the West, going to Vancouver. We're going to break it all down today, Erik. How was it being back at BMO Stadium for a second game, a second win? And if you allow me, I have to play one more thing before you give me your answer, sir. Here we go.
All right. Yeah, nothing.
Oh, sorry. Here we go.
I think we're looking at a 4-0 beatdown. Raphael Wicki as a coach, I'm not super impressed with. He seems to coach bad teams repeatedly in this league. So I think they're going to get a number 1 and 2 ass whooping on this game, and we're going to see a brace by Sonny, a goal by Bouanga, and possibly a goal by Martínez, if not a midfielder.
All right, buddy, break it down for me. How was it seeing it in person? I'll get this out here, but let me know how was it at BMO Stadium. Tell me a little bit about the game.
BMO Stadium is my little slice of heaven on earth, man, and that's what made me fall in love with this team. So being there, being in my seats that I've had since 2018, which they've just gotten a little cold this season, but Daddy was home today at the stadium. So yeah, I mean, look, we've scored 7 goals in the 2 games that I was there. So part of me says, JT, you might want to sign me as a permanent fan in my seats and start flying me back and forth from where I live. Might not hurt the team, I'm just saying. So it was great to see. I love to see the goals come in, all the guys there. I nailed it on the prediction, which was I'm not going to say luck because it was all knowledge on that, but I did have Sonny with a brace instead of Bouanga with a brace, which it was almost a clean sweep on that one.
It was almost 100%. So what did you see in the last show that made you think that this was going to be a 4-0 win for LAFC? How it was?
As I said, number one, you look at SKC's roster, and the roster doesn't really jump out as anything frightening at all. Like, they have some guys who I think on teams would be good depth players, but on SKC they're starting. So Joveljic is the only guy that's remotely frightening on that team. And even Joveljic, if we look at guys who played the 9 against us in Carson, I don't even think we put Joveljic as like a top 5 attacker up there. Maybe right there. And that kind of shows you how bad that team is.
It's kind of like their third choice, if
Next,
you think about it.
The last thing with the game, as I said before, is the coach. If you look at the coach, I'm not sure what he's done to deserve a coaching job or even get called back for that. He's kind of bounced around for obvious reasons. He played a high line against us, and that's just pure suicide. Like, why would you come into our house and play a high line? His center backs were pushed all the way up into their side of the field, and this is before we even scored. So, I mean, just naive and not something you want to do against a team like us. Play the low block, do your thing. But that, they got what they deserved, which is a visit behind the woodshed.
Bro, I had a couple really nasty comments about them because I felt like this is one of those teams that don't even belong in Major League Soccer. And today they just announced the signing of Andre Luis for $22 million. That's going to be the 3rd highest signing in Major League Soccer ever. So you put that in good contrast with some of the dudes that we're starting against LAFC. It's almost an insult for anyone. Cleveland, the goalkeeper, makes $237K a year. Courage, I don't know. Meyer, and Davis, 117,000 and 425,000. Harris, 375,000. Afrifa, their like winger, makes $113,000. No, it's just more people like on those stands were making more money than some of those players. So like, let's just talk about the league in general. Like, what does it mean for a team like that you saw in the flash sign a $22 million player as a DP? Meanwhile, they're playing some bums over there, man. Like, what did you see that I didn't see? That Sonny goal just looked like the guy was completely overmatched. Let's talk about this game. Break down that first goal. Comment how bad this roster was, because I never seen a team that bad in my life. It's been a long time in MLS for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we looked, the big story of the week also was the Casemiro debut against Montreal, and Montreal is another just equally pathetic team. I'm not, and the thing is, like, SKC has been so bad for so long. It's no wonder Kevincho got off of X and
He's like, I'm done.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I'd be too. I don't know how you stick it out with that fan. So, Sporting Kansas City, I think, really needs a rebrand or a new start or a new direction. I mean, they're pretty much.
It's a good soccer city, by the way. It's 100%. You see they show up for U.S. men's national team. So it's not about the city. It's not about the city. Go ahead.
So and also I think if they're not at the bottom of the table, they're pretty close to the bottom of the table, and they've been at the bottom of the table for a long time. So. This new signing, it's kind of out of the blue. Like, who would expect Sporting Kansas City all of a sudden splash $22 million on a signing? This says to me that maybe they're going to at least put up some sort of effort for next season. This season's pretty much in the toilet already. I mean, there's not, if they can figure out how to rally and make it into the playoffs, it'll be nothing short of a miracle. So maybe they're going to reload for the sprint season coming up and try to really build a powerhouse team. But yeah, we will see. A signing like this for a team like this really doesn't make much sense.
Yeah, and this is a team that you and I have watched a long time with Peter Vermans, and it was always competent. In fact, our last title was in a final against Sporting Kansas City, and we won, but it's not like they weren't trying, and that team had veterans and guys that really kind of make the team better, like Tim Melia in goal, and now we have Stephen Cleveland, which, again, it's just not a real goalkeeper. It's just really sad to see a franchise like that go down, and now this $22 million Brazilian just signs. Yeah, I just can only imagine what they're going to do there if they're not going to bring players that are better than $117,000 FIFA for it to play, the other winger with him. It's just ludicrous to me. But walk me through that opener, because
it's the true Ferrari amongst a bunch of Hondas comparison.
It's a team of haves and have-nots. It's like the NBA of the 80s. This is unbelievably stupid. But maybe it's a part of something bigger, and he's kind of the first pawn. And as you said, it's a transition thing for them. So they bring in like a lame duck coach. They might have, as you know, gone after Mohamed Salah. That did not work. Seems like someone's still trying to go after Mohamed Salah, and this was not in my card, Erik. Is this LAFC trying to go after Mohamed Salah?
Man,
you can be honest. I'd say, hey, that would be awesome, but I have no insider information on this. What would Salah do to this team? Imagine.
It would be awesome. I'd love to see, a front three of Salah, Bouanga, and Son. Like, are you kidding me on that? Like, that would be completely insane. Nobody could deal with that. However, let me bring us down to earth as the JT whisperer that I've been for so long. I think we're going to see more U22s coming in. I don't think we're going to see a big DP signing. It's just not the way that they do it. We have David Martínez, who I don't think is going to go anywhere for the rest of the season. Maybe this offseason, who knows? But for now, I think he's going to stick around for a bit. So Ordaz just left. Sir Bensington, Ben Cox did point out, you're limited as a team to how much GAM you can make a year selling players in the league. And Ordaz came close to the end of that. So if they wait till next season to move on from Martinez, that's going to be another $3 million they can roll into GAM for depth. So it's kind of like these players really need to move one a year. And so I think they'll bring in U22 to start to deal with this. I think Artem Smolyakov is gone, but in his case, I think it's basically like I said before, it's there's no return on that. Like, the slot is worth more than whatever they're paying him for a U22 to hit, and he hasn't hit. So So I think we're going to see U22s coming in, and I don't think we're going to see a third big high marquee DP. I'm happy to be proven wrong. I did say a couple weeks ago that if we were going to bring in a third DP, the conditions are more right now than they ever have been to do that. But I think we stay with our identity on this one. And I think Salah, I'm not sure where he goes, maybe somewhere else. Last thing with KC, I do believe Patrick Mahomes bought into them as an owner maybe a year and a half ago or a year ago. So that could always be a part of it, of them suddenly making a big move as well.
Yeah, well, they have a lot more moves to make because what I saw was an amateur team. I was embarrassed to see, and LAFC took advantage of it and gave their fans what they were there to see, which was a party. You saw a bunch of those goals right in front of you, Erik. Both goals at the end of the second half, or the first half, were balls that Aaron Long won, which this defensive duo was incredible. We'll talk a little bit about them, how well they've been. But walk me through that first half, the 2 goals at the end. I thought, wow. It's more than anyone would have thought, right? 3-0 at halftime. But what was it about those 2 last goals that you saw from your stands, from your seats, right? It was right in front of you that we didn't see.
Well, I guess the last 2 goals, the first 3 goals were all extremely similar. They were basically counterattacks that began because the center backs were too far pushed up, and
Our center backs are better than theirs.
Son, Bouanga, and Martinez basically just beat them in a foot race to one-on-ones with the goalie. Martinez had a little dribble at the end. But those 3 goals were all very similar. Those were coaching goals. This is how the team came out. Martinez, it's a good thing he made that because it was a 2-on-1. Son was wide open for a tap-in, basically. But it's nice to see Martinez take that goal and have that confidence. You want a forward to have that confidence to say, if there's a shot, I'm taking it. You know what I mean? And having that belief in themselves. And he executed it, which is really nice. So the last goal I thought was much more interesting because that really came apart on more of a bunch of passing connections. And then especially with Jude Terry in the game up, helping kind of move things along. And you had a group that was a little slower up front with all of them off. And so you saw more of a passing buildup. So it was really nice to see the team pull it off for the 4th goal. I thought that was really remarkable. The first 3 were just speed.
And by the way, that was a career milestone for our guy, Denis Bouanga. Career milestone, 75 MLS goals, 39th all time. And I think he's going to keep climbing, of course. So shout out to Denis. Continue to be the engine of this team. His form comes and goes, and so does the results, right? If he's hot, we're going to be hot. And even impacts, in my opinion, how Sonny plays, because he takes some of the highlights out of him and puts it on someone else, which allows Sonny to do what he did in the 5th minute. But overall, what a show for LAFC. Like I said, the 4th goal, you nailed that result. I thought it was going to be more like 3-1, a balanced game. But, man, this team is bad. They had nothing in the tank for us. And I think one of the things we talked about on the last show, Erik, was the defensive duo and who was going to start and what kind of rotation we would see. And what has been established to me is that Ryan Porteous is de facto starting for this team, and everyone rotates around him, and specifically Aaron Long, Tafari, for example. That's a natural rotation. And we saw Aaron Long, the captain of this team, take the field alongside Ryan Porteous. And you saw there 3 assists combined between the two, more than the prior 234 games combined for 5. Look at this shit. So
I think I called.
We talked about this rotation.
Yeah, I think I called Porteous and Long as well on my lineup because
I remember. I do remember you maybe going back and forth with someone being rotated, or maybe it was me. I don't know. But the point is, he's not leaving the lineup. He's not the one being rotated ever. It seems that way.
And yeah, Long had some really good defensive stops yesterday as well. It's not like Sporting Kansas City never threatened us. Like they did put a couple shots on net. And they did have a couple opportunities that got broken up, and Long was there breaking them up as well. But yeah, I love these guys in the back line. They're my number 1 and 2 on the depth for center backs. Long is number 1. Long is often the captain, so I think he is the best center back we have on our team. But Porteous brings a real edge to it, and then Tafari brings a ton of athleticism the way he plays. So Tafari slotting in with either one of those guys is a great option to have as well.
Ball.
Yeah, no, we're
playing ball. And
look,
nothing, and by the way, go ahead and finish your thought, but nothing happens without this man in the back. MLS-best, Hugo Lloris, 10 shutouts in 15 appearances, 33 clean sheets since joining LAFC in 2024. And if you think about what some of these MLS teams have lacked when you look at them, it's been goalkeeping. And we've always had a solid guy out there. Just talk to me about what's going on and how lucky we've been really just to have Hugo behind us. And man, he's playing well right now.
Yeah. No, I mean, man, I love St. Lloris, man. He's St. Lloris. And
Yves St. Lloris.
Oh, I just absolutely love him. Coming here on basically like a league minimum just to be here. And I think he's really turned into kind of an icon of our club. And I think Lloris is going to have a very special place in the hearts of the black and gold, as we go 10 years from now, 20 years from now, like he's not going to get forgotten out here. So I love seeing him out there. The other thing I think that was interesting is when we went up 3-0 and made our first subs, Eddie Segura came in, and which basically means that we essentially had 5 center backs on the field at one time.
Yes,
Hollingshead, I know
about this as well.
Hollingshead is really more of a fullback guy, but Hollingshead is also a guy that can play center back. So I kind of will throw him in as a center back guy. So, I mean, Hollingshead's center back on the right. We have Long, Porteous. Segura comes in at the
Chaburko, I believe, played a little center back as well.
Center back. He was on Columbus.
Hollingshead, I think is a bit of a stretch. He's such a big scorer, but I'll go with you. I go with you because I'm in a good mood because we won 4-0 and
that's what I'm saying
about scoring.
With Hugo has a lot of center backs sitting in front of him, whether they're natural or whether they're kind of a hybrid. Let's say it like that.
Ooh, but we're gonna hold on that question because it's a good question. Don't respond. Don't keep going.
Yeah.
It's a good question.
No, that's pretty much it for St. Louis.
Yeah. Let's last thing I'd say, Erik, if you don't have anything, go ahead.
Let me throw this thought out there. I had one of the things with like a U22 looking like it's going to come up. There's a part of me that thought, wouldn't it be fun if we got a really high-ranked 20-year-old French goalkeeper that can sit behind one of the greatest French goalkeepers of all time, Hugo Lloris, and kind of learn the craft, and then come up, and put a couple years at LAFC before he moves on to like a bigger league. But I think with such an experienced guy in there, I really hope behind him we have guys who are really learning the craft like only Hugo could teach.
I mean, his name is Thomas Hassel, bro. Like, if we're putting all this effort in Thomas, and he's a young guy, and you're not thinking about developing a guy while Hugo is here, you already missed the boat on that. And going to sign some hot French goalkeeper now would be a bit weird, and I would send mixed messages to the guy that are already here. So I appreciate where you're coming from. I think that we have too much vested on the guys that are actually here now. We got to figure out if these dudes are for real or not to stay with our roster. It's one of the most important positions, but guess what? We don't have to worry about it because this guy's playing at a high level, and this is our dude. And yes, I hope he wins Goalkeeper of the Year. He hasn't won it yet. What was his name? Armchair commentator there. What was it? Doyle? Doyle was like, he's horrible, he's gonna bomb, blah, blah, blah. I could be wrong. If I don't remember who it was, but nobody was believing in Hugo except for LAFC. Guess what? We crushed it. But we got to talk about the next game, right? A couple more tidbits of information about this game before I put the very important question for everyone that is watching us and for you, Erik. Tronier, once again, with an assist, 4th of the season. You saw that forced goal, right? That was a dime by him. Once again, wow, that guy's playing at a high level. Unbelievable. Martínez, the 10th goal in all competitions this year, which is more already than his last season. 4th straight win for LAFC, Erik. What a momentum we have, and what a difference conversation. What a difference in conversation we're having. Remember when we were talking and panicking that we were just nosediving after the elimination of CONCACAF champions? Well, guess what? We're tied for first in the West. 33 points, 10 wins. 3 in the last, 2 weeks. 5 losses, 3 draws. So firing all cylinders, even with Vancouver, our next opponent in San Jose. The question, of course, is, were we too harsh on Marc Dos Santos early on? Because if you take out the elimination to a really good Toluca team and a couple other blunders that he had against San Jose, for example, maybe a tired team, what do you think of him? Let's just kind of upgrade or update our conversation about our coaching, because a lot of people were MDS out very early on, and I thought that was a little bit wrong for everybody to call him out so early without having really seen at least one season of a body of work. So let's talk a little bit, Mark, and your thoughts on this moment where we are first once again in the West.
Yeah. I mean, we were both getting very concerned about MDS. Of course, I didn't think they would move on from the summer break, but I thought they would give him a window.
I said the leash was short, and the El Tráfico was going to define him a lot. So yes, go ahead.
Yeah. What I think about this, the way I looked at it is, if MDS has been one thing, I think he's a pretty adaptable guy. I don't think he's too rigid of a coach as like what we saw with Bob Bradley. Or even Cherundolo, I think, was also a little more rigid of a coach. He had his way he played, and he doesn't really deviate from that. And what I have seen in our last games is that MDS, or at least LAFC on the field, it looks like it's going a little more back towards Dolo ball, as opposed to going away from it at the beginning of the season, which worked for a while until teams kind of figured out where to bottle us up and keep us from progressing. It was basically like clogging the middle. So I feel like he's kind of gone back a little bit to the Dolo ball, and it has not hurt that we have been playing teams that have decided to be aggressive against us. So, are we going to see a bus parked against us next week? Probably not, because we're facing a team with a good midfield. But they did just get rid of Berhalter, so we'll see how that goes too. But
he's probably not even going to play this weekend already.
No, almost certainly he's not playing this weekend. So without him, we might be kind of getting lucky here and playing Vancouver as a wounded animal that's going to have to refine their identity, missing a guy. They have Thomas Muller to kind of shepherd them together. He's an absolutely great on-field leader, and I think he really illustrates why having a player who can be that on-field general is so important.
And the face of the franchise as well, right?
Yeah, 100%. So I think I think that's pretty much it. Chonier, he's really kind of developed it into one of our midfield guys, and so a battle of midfield against Vancouver, I think, is going to be a little less scary than it was a few days ago before Berhalter was announced to go to England, second division. So,
okay. Well, I mean, look, it has to be said, we're first in the West, a very tough conference, and a lot of good teams up there. But San Jose, just tied Carson, doesn't look as good as they look early on. Vancouver lost their ace now. Lost Ahmad last year. If you think about the elimination game against LAFC, Ahmad was unbelievable, and he was one of the key players I saw for Canada as well. So they are a wounded animal, and they've had a lot of guys that have left and not necessarily quality that has been replaced with. So I think you're right. I think the read of this game is absolutely correct. We're going into Vancouver about as good as we could feel, not only about them ourselves, but against who we're going to play. So we'll break that game next. And again, what an accomplishment for this roster, and let's see if they can keep it up. And what I do believe more than anything is that having lags and having, I would say, an ability to rotate players so that they're not tired towards the end of the season, especially the playoffs, it's going to be very important for this team going forward. So again, going with the next game here, we have an all-star break, so there's no weekday games, but there is a Saturday game already, right, with LAFC going to Vancouver. Question will be, will Sonny be available for the game since he is an all-star? Unsure about that. Denis was not picked up to be an all-star this year, which is kind of wild. They have some other players out there that don't produce as much, but it was a reflection of what was going on the first half of the season as well. So a couple of things. You can put 1, 2, or 3 on the chat to vote LAFC Vancouver there, and tell us what you think the result's going to be for LAFC. Are they going to win? Are they going to draw? Are they going to lose? But Erik, you started talking about this game already. I think this is not necessarily this is a revenge game, not necessarily to the extent that we want it to be. but this is the first time that we're visiting the place that we end up losing, right? And getting eliminated from the playoffs. So what kind of Vancouver do you expect? And more important than anything, what kind of LAFC team do you expect to see after the All-Star break? The All-Star break.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to be a little more disciplined. For example, we played Salt Lake, which I think when we played them, we were fourth and fifth place. It was basically a team equivalent in the table, and a team that really went after us with some exciting young talent. Vancouver is another team that also has some pretty exciting young talent, guys that will try to dribble at you. So it's just going to come down to, how our defense is going to be very important here to kind of limit any sort of chances that Vancouver has. They've been very good at that. We've been keeping a lot of people from even taking decent shots on goal, which is what's really helped Lloris. I don't think, Lloris has had some great shot stopping, but at the same time, the defense hardly lets the other team get into a position to take a shot on net. So I think this will be a little trickier with Vancouver. I think they've been kind of playing a 4-2-3-1 a lot. So it'll be interesting to see if they want to play that position. They just got over a pretty tough game with Cincinnati. They lost 4-3 in Cincy. So they definitely push at them. Cincinnati, not that bad of a defense either. So it's going to be a pretty wide open game. And I think both teams are going to be kind of going toe to toe, which is a matchup that favors LAFC, in my opinion, for this game. If they had Berhalter in there, I might be worried about some set piece magic, because he always delivers set piece magic, whether it's service or whether it's a great shot. But him not being there, I think they're going to have to really kind of pivot and try to figure out where they are. So I think they might take a little bit of time to figure that out. In the meantime, I think we will exploit this and hopefully sneak away with 3 points.
Yeah, and if you remember, Laborda, his feature here in the card, was one of the guys that ended up scoring against LAFC in that particular game that I attended that ended up resulting in LAFC being eliminated. A very hard game to watch in Vancouver. Very, very different circumstances right now. Of course, regular season game, much lower stakes. Teams coming back from a break and really studying themselves. So, yeah, I expect open soccer, like you said. Both teams looking for offense, not necessarily sitting back and being strategic, letting it rip a little bit more. I do expect some rotation from LAFC, but not much. But this would be a good game to rotate, because your chances of winning are lower to begin with, and your guys have been going at a high level for many a game. So if we think about the end of the season and accumulation of minutes and the fact that they have some time off already, maybe this is a game that you experiment something with, because, yeah, they're having a week off, but it's not that much time. So maybe that's a game that you do bring a couple of the young guys to play on the road, do something that you haven't done yet, just to mix things and let people know how deep you are. And this assumes that we're not signing anyone ahead of that game. And also, if he was a major name, right, it'd be very hard for that player to be starting. But if you notice how fast Casemiro got to start from his announcement to the field, no P1 visa waiting, nothing of that. Bam, 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 done.
Yep.
When things, for the big names, they make it happen and very fast. So Mo Salah is Egyptian. He's not a Brazilian. So I don't know if it would be the same process. And again, I'm not saying we're going to sign Mo Salah, but I still believe that if LAFC wants to splash, it should be with a third DP. I don't love your idea of bringing another youth project at this conjecture. We've tried that a few times. It hasn't worked. Give a third DP a chance now that we look like the real deal going to two, not one, but two competitions. You can get out of this season where you look stellar with two pieces of hardware, a Leagues Cup that we've never conquered, and the big one of them all, right? A second star in our chest. This poor thing's so old, doesn't even have a star. But anyways, I want to go back to you so you can tell me, who would you start, my friend, for LAFC against Vancouver this weekend?
First, just to push back on the third DP, and it's just more what I see. I'd be fine with the third DP as long as it makes sense. But in our case, we're in first place with the roster we have on the field right now, which says, you can pick up some younger guys that might not be ready to start coming into the squad for a few months. We don't need to have an impact player right now because we're in a pretty good position already. So That's the one thing I will say is we do have some time on our side right now. If the last 3 games were 0 points and not 9 points, it might be a little bit different. Yeah.
Well, I see that, and I think JT is gonna shock us. He always does mid the year. The window's open. He's been extremely quiet. The team looks good, but is it deep enough for 2 championships? And I think they're looking at this and saying, okay, we got to win something, right? And a Leagues Cup is going to start. And, like, do we want to compete on that? Last year, it felt like they threw that championship away, that they didn't have a lot vested in that. So I think this year we're really going to push for a Leagues Cup championship. And if we can do that, can that propel this team into going deep into a Major League Soccer playoff run? Shout out for those that commented on our show last week, by the way, especially on the Sonny Hates segment that we now have. Of course, this is the time of the show that we'll talk bad about Sonny just to piss you off, so we can come after us in the comments and say, how dare you talk shit about our guy, to disrespect with my man. I cannot believe you'd say that about him. So this segment is for you. Yes, we'll continue to talk shit about Sonny if he stinks. Guess what? He hasn't stunk in a long time, so you have nothing to worry about, and yet you came to our feed just to talk shit on us. I appreciate you, but at the same time, please try to read the room of what we're trying to tell you. We are going to be fair. We're going to be honest. And all we give a shit is whether they play for this badge and score goals. But the Sonny that I saw for a while there, the Sonny that I saw in the semifinals, missed a penalty against Vancouver. And guess what? We got eliminated from that game. So did Mark Delgado. We love Mark Delgado. But when he stinks, we talk shit about him too. So understand that I don't care who you are or what the player is. If he stinks, we're going to talk smack about him, guys. And that's okay. Sonny can take it. Sorry, Erik. Go ahead. I'm done with my rant.
It's been such a nice chat today. Like, why do you want to risk, like, putting some salt in that well, right?
Oh, because last week was horrible. I can't believe I go back to check on our comments, and this guy's like, how dare you insult Sonny with your comments? He was stinky. So
all right.
If it's not to you, but look at our last show comments. That's all I'm talking about. And like I said, we have a weekly segment where we just say Sonny is stinky just to get them going, man. But we're done with that segment. We're done with that segment. We can move on.
Sonny. Here's what it is. He's coming up with so many goal celebrations that I can't even keep track of them anymore.
Tell me, you're gonna talk to us about that. We got a little bit of time before the end of this, but tell me about this.
At first, so he gets into the Denis Bouanga and Martinez, where they have their kind of like their little dirty dance together, where they're just
I saw that. That was nice.
That. And while they do that, Sonny is standing there waiting. He's got the high five. He's got the jumping high five step brothers with Denis Bouanga now. He's always got the classic Sonny here. And then he busted out the golf swing at that. Like, I couldn't believe that with the little, like, to the top deck. And, as somebody who, when I was in town, I did play Will.
Something that is avid golfer.
Oh,
go ahead.
And, I don't need to tell any of the Koreans in the chat that the gentleman's game of golf is very popular in the Korean community, because typically I mostly golf with Koreans when I go to Griffith Park. And if you ever golf with the older Korean ladies, they bring the best snacks, all these little rice rolls. Oh, man, it's the greatest thing ever. If you ever get paired up in a group of 3 old Korean ladies, they will feed you like your grandma. So anyways, I'm ranting there. Sonny golf celebration.
It's okay. I went on a rant.
If he's got another one, then I'm just going to be like, this is too much. This is too much.
All right, Erik. Next time you have a right prediction 4-0, we should put some money on that. That would have paid us really good money on a very little amount of betting. So tell me a little bit about who would you start, and you can go ahead with your prediction for this game as well.
I think I am going to go with the 3-4-3 today on this one, because number one, we are going to be going at Brian White is a very dangerous forward, probably one of the most dangerous nines in the league. He's pretty hot right now. He's 10 goals in 16 matches with 2 assists. Ryan Gauld sitting behind him. Very good playmaker, very good outside the box shooter, coming out on 2 goals last game. So they got some good, strong players centrally that will kind of play one behind the other, and that's going to be tricky. So I think we counter that by going 3 center backs. We see Porteous, Long, and Tafari out this game. We're going to get
who's the 6? Chonier or Segura?
The 6, I think, is going to be Chonier and Delgado. And I think Tillman will probably sub in for Chonier. I could even see a Tillman Delgado with Chonier subbing in for Tillman just to kind of try to absorb some of this pressure. Playing kind of more of a wingback role, if you want to say, is going to be Shaberko, because, he went a full 90 finally, and I think he hopefully should be in game shape. And on the right, it's going to be Hollingshead. Also, basically another 5 center backs in the field, as I was saying earlier. And then up front, I think we'll probably go back with Schaffelberg, Sonny, and Bouanga. And I think Schaffelberg will stay a little bit behind, but I think they will be expecting you to absorb more pressure against Vancouver than we would normally do. I can see us kind of sitting back and playing less possession and really sparking counterattacks.
Okay, so you're going Chef this time. By the way, Chef did not start this game. So I think you got that right where you called that he would sit. So that was good. That was a good call out as well. So, and you think Martinez would get the start up front, right?
Mike,
is that right?
I'm muted. No. I have Schaffelberg starting instead of Martinez.
Oh, yeah, not in the middle.
Martinez
okay, my bad.
Will sub in, and Schaffelberg he's got a little better defensive work rate than Martinez, and I think again we're going to be playing very little possession of the ball in this game and really focusing on transition and counters.
Yeah, I can't disagree with it. I think, Palencia is not ready, so he wouldn't kind of do anything there. Hollingshead probably will play, so again, there's not much to rotate, to be honest. Maybe Eddie Segura to start this game. Chonier off the bench. I like that. I like putting all the center backs to play, and he's doing well with that position, so why not keep that defensive pressure going on the road? Let them be the offensive, the attackers, and we'll see what happens there. I would start Martinez again, be the hot hand, give him another chance, especially on the road with a whole week to play. And by the way, let's see what happens with Sonny. I know that these guys in All-Star don't play a lot, and they're there for just really minimal, like it's just not enough, not even a shift. It's like a practice shift really. So he should be able to play a game and give us 60-70 minutes if he's available, and I think he will be. So, but if he's not, maybe he sits, and we slot someone in his place. And I would think, maybe it would just be someone like a Bobby sit, unfortunately in this case, right? Someone very basic and a very natural backup to Sonny in this case. So, but we don't know what's going to happen, right? I think you're going to be more right than I am in this case, because this team is kind of rolling and it is a big opponent. Marc Dos Santos has some history with Vancouver, right? You don't want to go in there and shit the bed to a team that just lost their best player either, right? You kind of want to show that you can keep going and you have your best football on the road as well. So, did you give me a prediction, Erik, before we get out of here?
Yeah. I think we're going to squeak out a 2-1 victory, both goals coming on counterattacks. And this is essentially a 6-point game here. Vancouver is number 1. We are technically number 2 just because they have us beaten in goals scored right now by 3 goals. So this is a 6-point game, and this game is going to have a massive impact on who comes out on top of the West at the end of the season.
Yeah, shout out to Jess. He's been great on the comments here. Another great one there. I'm super sub for Martinez. Chef on this game, the Canadian to Canada. Beautiful, narrative. And yes, since he didn't start this game, he comes in. Tyler Boyd being kind of a natural replacement as well. Also depth for us. I love the way that they're administering that. Everybody's playing the role that they're supposed to, and the rotation is happening where it needs to be. Just hope that they keep the health. That's what we want. We want health in the long run. But yeah, shout out to everyone that comment. I love this comment here about the cards. Yes, we want to give more cards. LAFC X just sent me a Jude Terry card, and I'm happy to look at sending that away to one of you guys. But we need to get one thing straight. The person that won the last card has not given me the damn address yet to send them the card. So I want to settle that, but that person has never been able to reach us in a way that we can send them the card. So until we can straighten that up, it's a problem for us, and I don't want to commit to sending stuff I can't deliver, right? But I don't know why. I don't know if he's trying to contact us a certain way, but until we can send that first card out, which, by the way, it's here, it's ready to go, unfortunately, I want to hold on that until we can do more. But yeah, the Jude Terry one, the Jude Terry one is going to be dope, right? And I really want to do that because that thing looks really, really cool. And shout out to LAFCX, which was one of our shows before, right? And hook me up with that one.
I hate that I can't enter this contest because if I won it, that would just be too shady.
Yeah, you can also go to eBay and buy it, right? Just like you can buy. You know what? I'll tell you what. If he hits big, maybe one of your bobbleheads will do the trick here, buddy.
Don't make it bad.
So 83% of you believe that it's going to be a dub. Erik believes it's going to be a dub. And why would I go against Erik? That would be stupid, right? I don't believe we're going to have another. Man, can we do it? Can we do one more shutout? The team's been great on the road, man. And while I really want to give us yet another shutout and call this game like a 1-0 or even a 2-0, and we're continuing to shock everybody, and Vancouver can't find themselves. Maybe a sloppy penalty, something stupid, right? Header off the corner. Something will happen. Both teams will score. You cannot take your 2-1, although I think it's and so we're going to shock everybody with a 3-1 win. Big dub here because I don't believe it's going to be a 1-0 win, but I do believe LAFC is going to win, and I like to preserve your 2-1. So we're all in agreement here, however, this is going to be a W. So if you're into the gambling, a little money line, we'll sprinkle with the result. Like, if you had done this 4-0, that would have been nice. And, we just keep playing. Erik loves the futures. If you bought LAFC to win it all a month ago, you were looking good because it was the fifth odds, and now it's the second, things like that. But, again, tidbits. And, again, just do it responsibly, just for fun. We're not here to give you advice. It's just to spice it up a little bit. Right, Erik? Thank you so much for everybody that watched, man. Thanks so much for everybody to watch. I appreciate you guys being here.
Yeah,
good turnout online as well.
Yeah. Thanks, chat. Chat kept it good today.
Chat was awesome. Everybody was hot.
We'll have Vancouver, and then after that,
Mikey's like, just give it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, do that, man.
After the Vancouver, I mean, we shouldn't let them not contact it. It's ready to go out, but, we can always do the Jude Terry. I don't think it's that bad of an idea. But anyways, we'll have next week, we'll start looking at the Leagues Cup because after this Vancouver game, it'll be Leagues Cup time. And, that it's kind of it's a charming little tournament, I will say. It's
a charming little tournament. And if you snooze, you lose. You got 2 games. And if, it's one of those little best of 3 groups, that weirdness that we saw in a few tournaments. And, again, we want to go deep. There's money involved, and that means we can get signings. And why not, right? We want to actually have more hardware. I'm still not over the fact that we lost to Columbus. Columbus has one. Why could we have one, right?
The most valuable piece of Leagues Cup is that there is 3 Champions League qualifiers in that tournament. And that's
right.
We got to get back into the Continental Tournament next year, and we got to be the second MLS team to ever win it. Like, this is number 1 priority.
100%. All right. Thanks, everybody that's been here. Thanks, Erik, straight from Tulsa, Oklahoma. His journey through Southern California has ended with 2-0 and a goal differential of 4 plus 7, 6 goals there because they scored 1, right? What an unbelievable run for you, homie. What an unbelievable.
Yeah, I know, but I'm here for Tulsa King right now. Yeah, I'm looking for Sly.
Looking for Sly, buddy. Tulsa King. Here we go. Okay, I'll see you guys next Monday. Unfortunately, no Thursday show, but this one was a lot of fun. Thanks, everybody. And again, the stat kills me. 1 out of 4 of you watching this right now do not subscribe to us. So I have to ask you to please hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, and it helps us tremendously. And that's all we'll say about that. And until then, here's the beautiful guys from Fugazi, which continue to provide them with their beautiful song. What is it? The number 2? Or I forgot the name of the song. But